The holidays are a time for giving, but also a time for stretching budgets. To tell us about efforts to help families in need is our guest from ABCD, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, Sharon Scott Chandler. Thank you very much for being with us, Sharon.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, start with the need overall. We think, Boston is not a poor city. This is not the worst of times economically, but what do you see out there?
Well, Boston is doing well, but not for everyone. And in fact, it is kind of the worst of times for some. There's a serious inequity in terms of who's doing well and who's doing not. We know that over 26,000 children in Boston live below the federal poverty line, which means, and that's about 26%. That means that for a family of four, their family makes $25,000. So in order to live in Boston, I mean, it's one of the most expensive cities across the country. The cost of living, housing, food, everything is just incredibly, incredibly expensive for low-income families.
Well, one other index we could go to is how many toys you've got for the children and how many you need. What does that look like?
Well, we have right now over 7,000 requests. I mean, there are more out there, but those who have we've touched before or are reaching out to us now, we have over 7,000 requests. And right now we're looking at probably about 1,000 yet. So we're in the crunch time. We're asking folks to give toys. Now, today, we're collecting until next Wednesday, but we really are in need of a lot of toys to give out.
Now, most of us take toys at Christmas time, for example, for granted. For people who cannot do that, how much does that matter?
It matters a huge amount. I mean, families, low-income families have to make choices. I mean, they've got to put food on the table, pay housing bills, and so the last thing that they're really thinking about is a toy for Christmas. But we know that it's the most important thing for a child at Christmas. So it's tough, and it means hope for a parent who can provide just one gift, and it provides a smile on a child's face who might otherwise be struggling a little bit.
And kids, I mean, I know I was like this when I was, 3 to 8 years old. I had expectations. I saw these commercials on TV. I guess that's still the case for the kid growing up, right?
Oh, it's even more so. I mean, today is a day of, we're in the period of, we're just overwhelmed by images, whether it's on TV, whether it's through the internet or YouTube, or just walking down the street in the stores. It's around us. And so children, whether they're high income or low income, are wanting toys and are wondering what they're going to get for Christmas or Hanukkah or anything else.
This has been the news, and we're talking with Sharon Scott Chandler from ABCD. Sharon, as far as toys that you'd like people to donate, what should people be thinking about?
Well, our biggest need are children from 4 to 10. And so, any kinds of games or toys or dolls and trucks and things like that. For the preteens and the teens, we look toward sports things, basketballs, footballs, maybe crafts or Legos or something like that. And then, of course, for infants and toddlers, I think it's parents are looking for clothing. They're not as into the gift, but they really do need something fun and special.
Well, this is a time of year when people realize it's cold outside. They need to put on something different. If people want to donate clothing, what kinds of things do you think would be best?
Well, winter clothing. So along with the toy drive, that's part of our larger winter campaign, and we do collect winter coats, winter boots, blankets, and things like that. So if people are looking to donate any kind of clothing, no matter what age, we certainly take those as well. But for younger kids, certainly the winter weather clothing is the best.
Of course, one other thing going on here, fuel assistance. You're trying to get more from Washington, where it usually comes from, but you also need help from the greater Boston area too. What do you have in mind for that?
Well, a couple of things. One is part of our winter campaign is taking donations for fuel. So people can donate, and that will go directly to helping to pay people's fuel costs. They do get money from the federal government. There's an assistance, but that usually runs out about January. For the amount that we've gotten this year, that will run out, fill maybe a tank of oil. So we're looking for donations for folks so we can provide fuel assistance. We're also hoping to be able to go to the state and see if they can provide some additional funding at the legislative level.
Well, ABCD has been around for quite a long time. People might take it for granted, war on poverty going back to the 1960s, but things have changed. You've got to do more, I guess, from terms of donations, right? Don't you?
Yes, yes, we do. You know, obviously the government does provide a lot of support for people in need, but there's never enough. And one, it's for people to donate, it makes them feel like they're sharing, they're giving back, but also there's a whole lot more people in need than ever before. I mean, I think that, again, we take for granted because we're in such a good economy nationally and in Boston, but those folks who are low income have always been struggling and still do.
We should mention, if people want to help out, at least with the toys, what's the best way to do that?
So they can go to our website, and they can also drop off at our neighborhood sites. We take donations there. We can take them at our central office at 178 Tremont, but they can find out how to do that on our website.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Sharon Scott Chandler from ABCD.